Hey guys, got a new video for Last Epoch 0.92. Still in the beta, and we are on a Runemaster. It's my first Runemaster since I got back to playing the game, and we made a pretty cool build. We're using Runebolt as a main damage skill, and then just some other utility. We do have Ice Barrage here, but this is mainly used just to give us some buffs and stuff like that. We'll go over that in the skills and all that. And what we're doing is we're getting basically just getting a lot of cast speed, right? So you see our cast speed, our base cast speed is at 117%. Once we start going with a lot of buffs, so as you can see you're going pretty high, 242% cast speed, close to 250 if we consider like other nodes on the tree and all this kind of other stuff. So we are casting our Runebolt insanely fast, and each Runebolt we cast is repeated 2 times at least, and sometimes 3 times, because we're using the Runestone node. So when I first saw this, it was a little bit misleading, right? So it says directly casting Runebolt now creates a Runestone, right? And so what the Runestone does is it says Rune bolts from Runestone 2. So it seems like when I first looked at it, it looked like it would just add another projectile, but what it actually does is it repeats your cast, right? So basically it's just doubling your damage. And then with the one up here, every 20 seconds you can make another Runestone that shoots 3 times, so it's like triple damage, right? And of course it uses your runes. You can see here it used our runes where you just click once and you see it shoot 3 times. Pretty insane, right? So just like triple damage here, just a little bit of double damage over here, and then with the amount of cast speed we have, we can shoot out an insane amount of rune bolts and destroy things like map bosses are dead within a couple of seconds before I even have time to finish doing up my setup and all that. There's dead. So what we're gonna do is we'll do a node, and then we're gonna run the boss, and then we'll run the Shade of Orbis. So we're at 203 corruption right now. This guy hasn't really gotten that high in corruption. I've mainly been farming up my blessings and all that kind of stuff in the other areas, so this is the highest I've pushed so far, but definitely should be able to push up quite a lot further. So there is a little bit of things, gameplay things that you might want to know, so we'll go over those in a little bit. But first of all, when you get started, of course, for this character, you know, you do want to have a little bit of ward. So what I like to do is I like to cast my Runic Invocation. We're using the Rowan's Frost Guard. Just an amazing ability. Oh, okay, we did the wrong one. So let's do that, and then I just like to pop Flame Guard just to kind of get going. And basically, all you have to do is you just kind of Flame Rush, and then just push your Runebolt, and everything kind of just dies. Pretty much. So pretty zoomy. My boots don't have the move speed, what do you call it, thing on them, so moving a little bit slow, but our Flame Rush is at like, what, 2-second cooldown, so things are actually pretty, well, that was one of the objective guys. Alright, he's dead. So yeah, so with Flame Rush we were pretty zoomy, but you know, if we had the move speed on our boots, things would be a lot nicer. Alright, so let's keep going. Ward regen generation is pretty insane on this character. Even on a single target, we can get pretty high values. I've gotten up to 10k ward on this character on some bosses. So ward generation definitely not a problem. You can actually just flame rush through, and our static orb applies one of the brands, right? So just the brand and the static orb alone is like enough to actually kill most, what do you call it, mobs. Alright, that was pretty fast. Maybe we should run another one real quick. So we have an arena. This one should be pretty good. So before we actually start the arena, probably want to get a bit of ward so we don't just die right away. We don't really have that much health, but once we get going, we'll be fine. So this character has killed T4 Julra. Wouldn't say it was easy, because I mean it was pretty easy, but I kept killing myself because I would try to dodge with Flame Rush, just do like a small little jump. But you know, Flame Rush does kind of have some rubber banding or bug. I don't know what it is, but it's like a bug. So you push it and you get stuck inside the Flame Rush. So say you actually just only want to go like over here, but instead it just like takes you halfway across the map and what happened was I was trying to dodge Julra's abilities with the Flame Rush, or you know, get some of my buffs from the Flame Rush, which you do get quite a few buffs. You get like the Rage buff, and some other things from when we cast our movement skill. And what would happen is I would just get stuck in that bug thing, and it would take me all the way into one of the gold pools. So I ended up dying to that like quite a few times. It was pretty frustrating, but in the end I did take her down pretty quickly. The damage is definitely there on this character. I should not really have a problem with the damage. Just try not to kill yourself with Flame Rush, right? Maybe you shouldn't even use Flame Rush in that fight, but Flame Rush does activate a lot of our damage buffs, so it is kind of important to use. But alright, anyway, so that's the echo. Let's go do the boss real quick, and just kill this guy. So damage should still be good enough, I'd say. You can actually just tank everything this guy does. You see he's already at half health with just auto attack, basically, right? And we are at 10k forward pretty easily. Oh, there you go. And we should get it pretty soon. Alright, pretty easy. You get him? Oh, he's still alive. Alright. We get anything good? Wait, did I get the blessing? Oh, I did. Okay, so I was actually, I was using this blessing, the leech rate blessing, but the only leech I have is like cold damage, and it doesn't, in Monolith, it doesn't seem all that good, so I'm gonna try to go for the spell damage just to kind of test it out, basically. Alright, so for this guy, well, I'm gonna get some ward first. And Shade is pretty easy as well. I mean, I haven't really fought that many of them, but this character is pretty new, but you see, he's pretty much just dead already in 2 seconds. And we are closing in on the 10k ward mark. He's dead. Doesn't really seem to be taking that much damage. I guess it's maybe like boss endurance or something. There we go. Alright, so he's dead. Okay, so let's go over the character, what we're doing. First of all, go over the skills. So, first of all, let's see, yeah, so Runebolt. Runebolt, we're basically going over to the Runestone and the Imbued Runestone, and then we're taking Devastator, and then one thing we're doing is we're also going for the Amplified Cascade, so we're not running, even though we're a Frostbite build, we're not running the Cold Runebolt. And the reason for that is, well, because we do get a lot of good benefits with Runebolt when we're doing the Tri-Element Runebolt. So we do get all the benefits from this attuned recovery, so we get health, we get ward, and we get mana on hit. And since we are attacking pretty fast, I mean pretty insanely fast, the first 3 casts, you don't really even notice them. You see they're not, what do you call it? The first 3 casts aren't going to be what do you call it, cold, so a lot of your, like, you know, Frostbite on hit with cold spells aren't going to work. And I think this might actually be bugged, because I noticed that I am getting armor shred stacks, even though I am supposedly converting all of them to Frostbite, but you never know, maybe that is a little bit bugged. Okay, so in the end, this is actually, it does use less points to use this anyways. You have to use 3 points to convert to cold, whereas here you just need 1, so it ends up being a lot better to just go for the Tri-Elemental, I think, right? And after that, we're going for the auto target, and on just 3 points in the extra projectiles. I think since we are shooting, we're casting so fast that you don't really notice, so I think you don't really need all the points in here. But you could take 2 points out of here and go into this if you wanted. You could also just go into more armor shred, which is actually going to be turned into Frostbite. Or go into some points here, you know, whichever one you want. After that, let's go over, let's see, okay, Ice Barrage. So Ice Barrage we're using as a buff, mainly. So we're going to the Frost Ice Shield, and then we're going into the Frost Armor. So this is pretty insane, 60% more global damage, right? So, and pretty insane, and minus 20% cold damage taken. So every time you use our Ice Barrage, if we look at our Frostbite damage, it's at 1,200. If we use our, what do you call it, Ice Barrage, it goes up to 2,000. Pretty insane damage increase. So that's how we're doing it. And the rest of the points, I'm just putting it into the Frostbite chance. Okay, so Static Orb. So Static Orb, we're not actually casting on our bar, we're proccing it with Runestone, or not Runestone, with the Flame Rush, right? So Flame Rush is basically our activator that gives us basically all of our buffs. So what we're doing with Static Orb is we are basically only using it to get Lightning Aegis. That's pretty much the only point of this, and we have to make sure that this is costing over 15 mana, because this is actually applying one of our brands. So we have the Brand of Deception. So this applies Brand of Deception. So it actually, you can actually just clear most monoliths just by using this. Use your Flame Rush, and then this will apply the brand, which does quite a lot of damage, even though it is lightning and not cold. It still is enough damage to kill off a lot of monsters, right? So you can just do this and clear off a lot of monsters in the map. The reason why we want monsters to be branded is because we have a lot of points invested into brands, right? So more damage, we get some more damage per time to branded enemies, right? And then we also have spell damage to branded bosses and ward against branded bosses. So we are investing into brands, and we're applying our brands, like I said, with the Static Orb. So this will apply the brand, and then we'll also have brand on our Flame Rush. Another reason, and we're not converting Static Orb to cold, because we do need it to be a lightning skill to apply the brand. So I don't know, you could do cold, but since we're not actually casting it, it's not really adding that many Frostbite stacks, so we're just using it sort of as a utility kind of skill. Okay, so Flame Rush, the main thing we want to get here is so we want Static Orb, and we want the branding cold to get the brand of subjugation. So these two are kind of what we're going for at the beginning, and then we need the Frenzy over here. Then we're extending the Frenzy duration. So normally Frenzy is just 2 seconds, but if we the longer we stay in, the more Frenzy we get. So in monoliths, when you're doing a long jump, you'll get like 3-second Frenzy, or 5 or 3. So it does kind of help a little bit. After that, we're just going for the speed and range, and then we have our fire resistance shred, which gets converted into cold resistance shred. And so we are not actually casting our invocation with flame rush, right? So there's a couple of reasons for that. I was casting it before, but in order to actually get your runestone, or the imbued runestone, you have to have wards, right? So what happens is flame rush, right? And then it's going to consume your runes to make your runic invocation, right? And then you're going to use your runestone, and it's basically never going to proc the imbued runestone, basically, because you're not going to have any runes. And when you make it, it's not going to, like, as soon as you get 3 runes, it's not going to like replace the normal one with the imbued one. You have to actually either move out of the way, like the 8 meter range, and make a new one, or before you cast your runestone, use 3 spells. And we don't really have 3 spells we can spam. We only have 2, so it's a little bit awkward. And the way you can get around that, if you did want to auto cast it with your Flame Rush, is before you let go of Flame Rush, you put down the runestone, right? So in Flame Rush, before you let go of Flame Rush, you can put down your Runebolt, right? So you Flame Rush and then push your Runebolt key, and that will actually make the imbued one. So you could do it that way, but then it does end up costing quite a bit more mana, and you're gonna have to invest a little bit into mana regen, I think, because it's not, I mean, as long as you're hitting something, then it's totally fine, you're not gonna run out of mana. But in monoliths, mana sustain did feel kind of bad, because a lot of times you Flame Rush, right, and then there's not that many mobs around you, and then you kind of lose mana and go again, and then there's not that many mobs around you, and you end up I ended up in a situation quite a few times where I just didn't have enough mana because there wasn't enough mobs around me to hit, right? So in the end, I decided just to go for the self cast. We have a lot of cast speed, so as soon as we throw into our Flame Rush, and we can just cast it like right away. It's pretty much instant, so kind of a compromise. And this kind of playstyle of like managing your imbued runestone was a little bit annoying, so anyways, just going for the self-cast. Okay, so Runic Invocation, we're going for the immutable order, so we can kind of choose what spell we want. And then we're reducing the cooldown, and then after that, pretty much the only other thing you need is this spell damage and cast speed, so we get a little bit of cast speed after we use it, and then cast speed for the Runic Invocation itself. And that's pretty much it. Like, the rest of these don't really do much because this spell doesn't do damage. I guess you could go into some of these nodes here if you want to like trigger some of the other spells or stuff like that, but overall all you really need is the immutable order and then the transcriber of power, and I guess the mana refund in this area is very nice as well. So that is kind of the skills. As for the gear, it is pretty much your standard Frostbite character, the Frostbite Shackles, Snowdrift, Twisted Heart Ukuros. I was playing without Frostbite Shackles for quite a while actually. So if you don't have these gloves yet, you could use another pair of gloves. You don't really need these to play the build. My ward sustain was still pretty good with it. It wasn't hitting 10k, but you know, you could still hit 6k, 7k ward on bosses pretty easily without these gloves. As far as stat priority, we want to get chance to apply Frostbite on hit. Having a +2 Runebolt is going to be kind of nice, or even a +4. And then everything else is good, like cold penetration with Frostbite, intelligence, elemental damage over time, freeze rate multiplier, cast speed, of course, wherever you can get cast speed, get your cast speed. Chance to shock and ignite is going to be nice as well, because of, since we're doing a tri-elemental bolt, we can use all three of the rune words. So we'll get some extra bonuses per ignite or shock and that kind of stuff. Okay, so after that, yeah, so if you take a look at the gear in the planner, but basically I'm just trying to cap out my resistances, and then I want to get as much ward retention on my gear. So you can do that with just ward retention, freeze rate multiplier, or not freeze rate multiplier, cold resistance, or with intelligence, right? So if you want to go for more defensive options, you go for intelligence affixes. Other than that, you go for elemental damage over time, or just, you know, plain damage over time, freeze rate multiplier. So they're going to be your damage stats. And yeah, so let's go over the idols. Oh, right, so you do want to get a little bit of armor shred, right? Wherever you can get it on your amulet and your gloves maybe, but let's see. So armor shred gives us frostbite chance. For this, I think this might actually be bugged with Runebolt. Technically this is a cold skill, it does have the cold tag, but it's, I don't know why I'm still seeing armor shred stacks on mobs. I shouldn't see any of them, but they're still popping up, so not really sure what is going on with that. But okay, so armor shred is a very good damage set as well. So for idols, I'm using 4 cast speed while you have lightning aegis, so this is where we're getting quite a lot of our cast speed from. So we get lightning aegis from our static orb, and then I'm using 2 frostbite idols over here. Yep, that's the gear, guys. So after that, let's go over the pantheons, or not pantheons, sorry guys, the blessings, right? So first of all, we got the spell damage leech. You can either go for the spell damage or the leech rate. Ending the storm, mana, probably the only good one to get here. Because you do want to have a decent sized mana pool, because some of these spells do cost quite a bit of mana, like your what do you call it, Ice Barrage costs mana, and then the, what do you call it, Ball Lightning thing, Static Orb, does cost quite a bit of mana as well. So having like 250 plus mana is going to make things feel a little bit better. Okay, so Reign of Dragons, I like to go for the all resistances here, just to help me cap out a lot of resistances. Spirits of Fire, we're going to go for the flat armor. And then for Age of Winter, Frostbite on hit. You can also go for the increased armor here if you just want to get a little bit more armor. We do have quite a bit of armor. You can see we're at 1,500. I guess that's not quite a lot, but keep in mind that this armor is going to get increased by quite a bit from the passives over here. So armor per shock with Rune Word Infernos at 3%, so we get more armor from this Rune Word, and we do have quite a bit of shock chance. We are getting quite a lot more armor from that. Alright, so speaking of the passive, let's go over the passive. So first for Mage, we're going for the health and mana, and then we're going in just 1 point over here. And then we're going for the ward, mainly just so we can reach the ward retention, and then we go for the attack and cast speed. After that, we go to the Runemaster. Runemaster, we're getting the cast speed. We get the ward gained on direct spellcast. And then we have some more health and less damage taken. Just some points here for travel points. And then 7 points in freezing point, so we get the armor shred converted to frostbite. Right, and this kind of area here is a little bit optional. So 1 point into never late, right? So we can get this cast speed after traversal. So in general, playstyle for this build is you want to flame rush, and we're going to get our frenzy, and then we're going to get our lightning aegis, and then we are also going to be getting the never late buff. And then if we use our runic invocation, we get another 8% cast speed there. Right, so basically for playstyle is we want as many buffs as we can get after we use a movement skill. So we get we flame rush, attack for about 3 seconds, and then move on. Attack for 3 seconds, and kind of move on. Kind of basically that's how I play, and it does seem to work out the best, right? So getting an extra 10% cast speed after we use the movement skill did seem to be very nice. And here, so Decree of the Burning Ward, so more damage to bosses and rares. And since we always have a raw rune, just a fire rune, pretty much always active, then we're going to be getting double the bonus, right? So I'm still putting points into here. I'll have enough for the 5-point bonus once I reach level 100. But even without this, you can see the damage is already pretty insane. Alright, so 7 points, or 8 points in here, so we get some int in the cooldown recovery speed. And then just all the rune words. We don't really need to increase the duration because we are casting so fast that these are always up like pretty much 100% at the time. And then brand deception, and then the orders in position, so we get some more damage over time to branded enemies. Lastly, we get the Celestial Doom. This is I'm mainly getting this just for the ward gain on hit versus branded bosses, basically. Okay, so Sorcerer, we're using this sort of as just some utility points. We have the Arcane Momentum for the massive attack speed or cast speed, and then armor, some mana, some more mana regen, and then the Cold Leech. So if you can get Leech somewhere else, you can actually drop this whole portion entirely. But for now, you know, it is kind of nice. You do get 15 Cold Pen, but it is quite a lot of points, and you could probably get away with not running this mana over here in the mana regen, and possibly use these points somewhere else. But we'll have to see, you know, maybe the leech that I just got from the other blessing is going to be enough. And we do already have a lot of life gain on hit, so yeah, so that's pretty much the build, the character, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll have the build planner up. You can go check those out. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.